This is William Tincup and Ryan Leary, and this is the Use Case Podcast. We have Martin on today, and we're going to be learning all about his story, his technology, and we can't wait, right, Ryan?
I woke up this morning and all I wanted to do was talk to Martin.
See,
That's why I'm
there we
here.
go.
That's why
We
I'm
had
here.
we had 5 minutes of Vienna talk in pre-show, so that was fun. Martin, would you do us a favor and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. And Will, Ryan, thanks for having me. So I say hi from Vienna, Austria, or a nice hello that we say here. So I'm Martin Lenz. I'm the CEO of Jobiqo. We are in the job board space. So we are a job board software provider. We provide all kind of products that I hopefully be able to talk a little bit about. We build job boards. We build programmatic advertising solutions. We have search and match technology in place. We are a true global player. One of the reasons is maybe because we are based out of Austria and there is not a big market. We talked about all the beautiful things here in Austria, the museums, etc., etc.
Yeah.
They all are not in the recruitment space. So we have maybe more than 90% of our business we do outside of Austria. But there's a great tech hub in Austria and
Nice.
around Vienna and my hometown Linz. So I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, thanks for having me.
So what I heard there was your competition is Andy Warhol and the
Mhm,
museum
mhm.
and
Choir.
yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
good. So let's so you mentioned a couple things and I can see people on the other side. Oh no, another job board.
Mhm.
Why a job board? Talk to us about that. What
Job board
was
tech.
the job
This
board
is actually,
tech? Yeah, not job board. Yes, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
So
I
talk to us
guess
about
it's
this.
both, right?
yeah.
I guess it's both because recently we announced our partnership in the US with the Job Network that we are kind
Yeah.
of like operating from now on. So we are operating some of the job boards, but we are also providing technology to run job boards and everything you need about it. So why did we do it? I mean, I'm a computer scientist by trade, so I started coding like in the late '90s, and I always wanted to be a programmer. Like
Yeah.
when I went to school and I studied computer science, and like I even worked for the company in 2007 as a developer. So it was at the time it was a jobs board, right? So it was
Right.
a job board
Right.
for apprenticeships in Austria or like for graduates in Austria. So I already met the founder. I was doing coding, and then I said, "Oh well, this can't be it, right?" So job boards are dead. No, not at that time, but it's like, okay, I
Oh yeah.
wanted to see the world. I went over into management consulting. I went to Accenture. You probably have heard of it.
Sure.
And because of my background in working for job boards, I came into the job board space again. So I was working for the public employment services, like in Germany, Austria, all across Europe. And I stayed there. I stayed there for like 9 years. So learned a lot about leadership and IT transformation. So I was always kind of a tech guy, but always like to have like understand the business side and leverage the tech side. So I was never like the best coder, and I
Right.
realized it quite early. Even if you could like code like literally anything, but I was never like out of the top performing coders, right?
Yeah.
And
I love I love I love how you say that. I
Yeah.
realized I
Yeah.
just wasn't good at this.
Yeah.
Most
I
people
mean,
hang in there 10 years too long. That's
I
that.
was workable, but uh, hey, quick thing, real quick. Your hometown is named what?
so
The
I'm
same as
born.
your last name.
So it's similar to my last name. It's Linz, so
Yeah.
Linz.
Yes.
It's different. Like it means totally different things. Like Lenz and Linz, it's totally different. But
Okay.
it's kind of 2 hours down the road from Vienna. It's like geographically in between Salzburg and Vienna, like
Oh
exactly in
yeah.
the middle. And it's
Okay.
like it was supposed to be like everybody knew it as a steel city because there was steel power plants and like steel production
Right.
like already many years ago. It's a wonderful city. It has a lot of arts and museums. You see it there, but it's still like in Austria. If you ask people about this town, it's like kind of like the steel city, and it's
Right.
like Glasgow or Manchester or things like that.
Right.
So it's
Right.
Detroit, but it has so much more to. I stayed there like for 25 years.
Yeah.
So there's a great technical institute or to like study computer science. Like a lot of tech companies are also based out of there. but because of job reasons, I moved to Vienna. So there's like
Yeah.
Vienna is a city of 2 million people, so not everybody realizes because Austria is such a small country, but
Right.
Vienna is the second largest German-speaking city. So yeah, we speak German in Austria.
Outside of what, Berlin?
Berlin is the biggest, and Vienna is the second biggest. Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually
Interesting.
news to me because I've traveled all over Germany and I wouldn't have known that. That's cool.
Yeah.
With the job board technology part, I'm assuming that you can white label that,
Yeah,
or it can
exactly.
be provided white
Yeah.
labeled for
So
folks.
to continue the story,
Yeah.
in 2017, I decided to join the company again as an investor and as a CEO. So the founder actually asked me. He said like, so they switched into like moving away from running a job board to technology. So he was always the tech guy,
Right.
and he in 2011 he created a spin-off which was then Jobiqo in that sense. And he said like, well, I want to focus on building job boards. I have way more fun in improving the technology, solving challenging issues in the online recruitment space. So this is how the white label solution actually was created. And it took us a couple of years to realize that I could actually work again for this company, but in a different level. So still nobody gives me access to the code, which I really not
They remember
appreciate.
you.
But they don't allow me to touch the code. But I always have the feeling because I know the code, I can ask way smarter questions, and they let me in the belief of doing so. But that was kind of how it started. And the founder, Klaus Furtmüller, at that time, he said, "Well, I think we really have something," and he actually paid me to be his consultant. So he said, "Hey, look at the product, look at the team, look at the tech, look at what's happening in the market." Because at that time, honestly, I didn't like 2016. I didn't even know that there was a category like there is a
Mm,
software category like building job boards, right?
right.
And I was excited. I was amazed. I thought like the competition really is outdated. Like
Right.
I looked at the market in a sense like, hey, why is this also broken? And like why is the process breaking? And I thought like, hey, with a really great tech from Central Europe, we can disrupt everything. And I think the story also shows that it's not always about the best tech. It's just if you go there and show or talk about, hey, this is much better, it works much better. This is
Right.
not what ultimately makes a job board successful. It's like a variety of things. And we kind of figured out, okay, we still want to provide the best tech, but we also need to evolve and learn what actually makes our customers successful. And being the enabler, not the blocker. Because most of the time when we win customers, it's because they're really unhappy with their current tech. And it's usually like getting a customer like that is great because they were so frustrated, but it should not take that much time to realize that it's that you
Right.
can do better with the best tech. But that's always kind of the problem of engineers, right? So how can you convince someone that what is really the benefit? Is it just like a technology play and you're just super excited about something that nobody actually needs, or can you really change something? And I was immediately impressed and said, hey, we can change something, and over time we learn what really matters and how we use the technology. And it took us years to realize, despite a lot of growth, because there were so many customers just liking the tech. And then we started tech talk, and it was always the tech talk. And just over the recent years, we realized, hey, there's so much more than the tech. And then you add the pieces of the puzzle, and you add more services, you grow your partnership network, and you
Right.
grow globally, and you learn what actually already didn't work in the past. Because if you never experienced it, you don't know.
So Martin, walk us through what the customer is, the ideal customer is for you, and what is driving them
Yeah.
to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the white label solution, so white label means that we have a platform that has all the features that you need to run a jobs board, to drive traffic, to do sales, to convert your users, to re-engage the users. The right customer is someone who, first of all, has a commercial case in mind. Let's put it like that. So you want to make money. You want to solve a business need in recruitment, and you
Right.
want to monetize it. I think that's important, because we also have nonprofit customers, but they don't they don't use a lot of the things that we offer, like all the monetization things. They don't need it. And the second thing is, you either need to know a lot about your vertical, like your niche, or you have a brand and you have an audience that you can leverage in that sense. So
Right.
very commonly we work with newspapers and B2B publishers. That's usually well-known brands that also have an audience, either be it like regionally, locally, or in a certain vertical. In some cases, we work with associations or recruitment agencies, because they run a jobs board at the side to generate leads. And what is not enough is usually just to say, hey, I was in recruiting 20 years. I never saw a job board in automotive industry. That's not enough, because literally anyone could start that, right? So
Right.
you need to know more about what you can do. Like, you need to know what are employers even like willing to pay for. Are they willing to pay for a job posting? Are they willing to pay like for campaigns? Do they want to get access to your resume database? Do they want to do like something else? So you need to actually know what you can advertise, and we allow you to do that. And we allow it in 2 or 3 different ways. So first of all, you need this platform to really run your business, right? So you need a job board platform to make money with a job board. So it
Right.
comes with all these features like products, monetization, user engagement, and all this compliance stuff like GDPR in Europe, CCPA in US, AI Act, Digital Services Act, etc., etc. So there's a lot of compliance around that. You don't want to focus on that. You don't want to focus on just continuously updating your tech. We take care of that. We want you to focus on our customers, to focus on their business, and to educate the employers to how they can get to candidates. So how they can grow their applications, and how they get quality applicants. I think ultimately this is the most important goal that a job board needs to solve. And I would agree on that when you say, hey, why not a job board? I think a lot of job boards did a bad job over the last couple of years, because they were just sticking to their standard business model, and just say, hey, well, it's less than last year, but we can still continue with it, right? And
Right.
in the end, people missed the opportunity to think about, why am I actually doing this? So I'm actually trying to help an employer to find candidates. And if you
Right.
think about that, then everything else just becomes a challenge to solve. It's a challenge to solve, like how would they like to pay for it? Is it like, do they want to pay for a job posting because they know how it works? Are they more sophisticated? Do they want to run a campaign? Do they just want to get access to a database because they're an agency or things like that? They want to do active sourcing. And this is what they need to translate into a product that somebody can sell, that they understand. Because the market is evolving, there's new trends up in the market, and it depends on the employer how mature and well educated they are. But in the end, everybody has the same issue. We are in that space to help employers find candidates, and actually to help candidates find great job opportunities. And we can touch base on like why candidate centricity is important as well later on the show.
Yeah. Two things. One is, I think you said something I want to make sure that I understand correctly. Because it's powered by, when something comes up, there's a let's say that there is new legislation, the EU passes something, and it needs to now proliferate through all the job boards that y'all power. Y'all can make one change, and then it goes across all of the powerful all of,
Exactly,
so that was
exactly. So we have a core product that we update like
right.
on a monthly base with the
Right.
latest feature upgrades, but you can also customize and configure it to your specific needs. So we don't
Right.
update US job boards the same way like we do UK job boards, but we actually know, okay, these are our UK customers, so they need this update, and these are US
Right.
customers, they need this update.
I love that. So the second question was about programmatic. And whether or not do you do programmatic yourself, meaning you have your own, or do
Yeah,
you work with other programmatic
yeah.
players
So
that are out there?
yeah, so we started to do our own programmatic services late 2022, early 2023.
Right.
And the reason for that was that we were always playing agnostic. Like we say, hey, here is the platform tech.
Right.
We connect you with anyone in the market, but we saw, okay, this is not enough. So this is like the biggest problem for job board, why it doesn't work, is because a lack of performance. And this is why
Right.
the Indeeds and Stepstones in Germany, they outperform you because they could perform better. And to do that, they need job boards also need to have programmatic. So we actually built a programmatic solution for job boards to stay competitive.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
actually them using the programmatic solution to drive traffic to their jobs, to make their customers happy. Because if you look at the programmatic space, the big vendors like Appcast in the US or Recruitix, they're usually, or PandoLogic, they're usually going enterprise. So they are
Right.
talking to the large corporates, the high volume hiring agencies, and that's the long tail is the big mass of the businesses. So they are not keen to, they're too small to run all these campaigns. So they usually go to the job boards and say, I have this role, I need to fill this role. Can I post this job? What do you offer? And you say, hey, there's 5 different versions of the job posting whatsoever. But in the end, you need performance. So the job
Right.
board needs to drive performance to that. And we're trying to do this like in a programmatic way with job aggregators, social media automation, etc.
So, Martin, talk more about what that programmatic is. So
Mhm.
for the and I know your customers fall within different segments, right? So
Yeah.
you work with publishers and so on and so forth. So maybe let's talk about that for the smaller publishers in that group, right?
Yeah.
What does programmatic mean to them if you're powering their job board?
Yeah, absolutely. So programmatic per se is just a way that we can drive traffic to your site from various different channels in a computer driven way. So we can basically automatically determine where where we should send your job, or share your content and buy traffic on a so-called cost per click base to get more performance on your job. So why is this important for a small job board? Because usually they are not able to run the large big campaigns. So when you look at many of the job boards, they have a mix of their own, I call it native jobs. So it's employers going to their site, posting the job, and then they have backfill content. So maybe they also have a backfill on their site. They import thousands of jobs from other job aggregators to have more content on the site. So you want to make sure that the customers that pay you most get the best performance. And maybe in the end it's just 50 jobs on average per month, right? So how do you drive performance on this? And because we are working with so many customers, we can actually streamline all the job boards that we work with and the needs that they have, and basically look at them like they were an enterprise customer. So we actually, the campaigns that we run on a monthly base, they're like an enterprise campaign, but we streamline the different needs of our customers, and it's market specific. So we work in a different way in the US than we work in the UK or in Germany,
Right.
because there's a different ecosystem. The market is very fragmented. Germany has a much less mature ecosystem of buying of, but that's in a nutshell what we do, and this is why our customers benefit. So they don't need to run thousands of dollars in campaigns. They just need to focus on selling jobs, and we can even take a fraction. And this is where we work perfectly well together with Veritone and PandoLogic as well, because they allow us to automatically leverage the AI and take advantage of their programmatic services. So that's why I say we partner, for example, with Veritone, PandoLogic for the job network in the US, but we also have our own campaign automation. We call it Jobiqo Air, which stands for Automated Intelligent Reach, which we can, again, in kind of a white label fashion, tailor exactly to the needs of the jobs board. So if you want to run an artist job board in the US for Andy Warhol fans, we can tailor the campaign to exactly what you need. Maybe a great business idea, but we are actually at the moment the only one that offer that in a one-stop shop, like covering all these channels. And because we like this staying a little bit in the background, we're still the tech guys. We really like that it's another white label solution. So we help our customers to succeed, and they can wave the flag and say, "Hey, look at my performance." Nobody knows that we help them on the background. It's not visible.
So talk to us about analytics, because the way I think Ryan and I have thought about analytics in the past is, okay, right time, right budget, right person, right channel, all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe it gives you some insight into source of hire. Maybe it gives you an insight into how much how much budget you need to throw against that job to create the quality traffic.
Mhm.
So teach us kind of what customers and prospects, what they should be thinking about analytics wise
Yeah.
on the back end.
So our solution comes with a built-in analytics. So we can run as many channels as our customers want. We can buy traffic via social media, job aggregators, display advertising, and it all gets together in one dashboard. So we kind of make it fully transparent where we buy the traffic, how much it costs,
Right.
how it converted, and we optimize it automatically, but we also allow our clients to take control and say, hey, can I add this channel? Can I do this and this? Can I invent a new product, like a premium job boosting product? And then we just set up an additional campaign. But analytics is key to really make sense if it works, because I sometimes like to say programmatic advertising in the recruitment space is like the Wild West, because you never know what you get. There's so much fake clicks out there and AI applications out there, and you really like if you get thousands of applications in the middle of the night, I don't know if it's like real applications. And also when it comes to working with different partners, there's a lot of great partners, but you have one relationship to everyone. So you wanna streamline it, and you wanna make sense of the numbers. So that's the one part. The other part is don't get confused by the numbers, because there's so many KPIs around in the market, and people say, what's my CPC and what's my CPA? But what does that mean? What is a cost per click? What is a cost per application? So a cost per click on a job aggregator is someone already clicking on apply on this site. So it comes to you, and then they click apply again, and then you go to the career side of the employer. Well, then it's a cost per application click, if you wish, right? So it's very hard to really get down the funnel to the employer integrations, to the ATS systems, the applicant tracking systems, and really get the information about, well, this guy really finished the application, or this person really got hired. So I think this is where all the vendors will work a lot in the next couple of years to really get this a little bit more standardized, because there are some de facto standards, but there's no real standard. Like, when is it a click? When is it not a click? So the TIA Tech, for example, the trade association from Peter Weddle, they have like a download section where everybody can contribute their kind of policy around what do we consider a click. And this was kind of one approach to kind of standardize what it means. But it's still tricky. And the reason I think is it's very hard to really understand for many of the users out there. So having analytics in place is the first step to start, but understanding the analytics is another topic.
Let's go back to features for a second. We went through a bunch of features earlier, but where are most of your customers loving you the most, right? What features are they looking at and saying, okay, this is why we're going with you
Yeah.
versus someone else?
Yeah. So I would like to differentiate the two products. Like, let's start with the white label product. So the white label product, what they love most is that it's very flexible. So you can really, like, you're not stuck with the one solution. You can really like configure it in many ways, and we can also customize it in many ways. That's the reason why we also have a couple of very enterprise-like job boards in our portfolio. Another thing is that we have a very, very flexible system in terms of, we call it taxonomies. So that's kind of a technical term, but you can actually tailor the search experience and the wording and the language and the classification of the site exactly to your audience. So it can be different languages, but it can also be different industries. It can be regional specifics. So it's very easy to tailor it for the needs. And last but not least, everything around monetization and organic traffic generation is also something that we're really good at. So we have a couple of SEO automation capabilities. So like that you can, and Google is like changing a lot recently, and we're always kind of running after it. But well, we're always updating it so our customers get the latest automation that is allowed on Google. And also what many people are missing is how is the candidate experience coming to converting someone to really click on apply, like, or to re-engage them signing up for a job alert, because many sites are very transactional. So they buy the click, and then they get the click out, and they're kind of arbitraging the traffic. But that's how you waste money, because every dollar that you spend is a dollar invested in your audience, and you need to learn how you can do that. And we provide a lot of functionality around that. And last but not least, if you want to monetize the site, what does it mean? So you need to be able to provide your clients with products that they understand and that you can make perform. So we have a very broad sales inventory on our platform. You can look at it like a Shopify system and say, well, whatever product I want to look at, like a single job posting, candidate database, flat rates, subscriptions, social media campaigns, employer branding campaigns, you can create these products, and then we can help you to deliver. So that's what they really like about the white label platform.
So, what are you seeing right now with regards to AI or generative AI now? And what do you think's going to, where do you see this playing out for those just the next year or so? Not,
Yeah,
we don't go to flying cars, but
yeah,
just what are you seeing right now?
yeah. Flying job boards.
I don't hate it.
So, good question. So, we recently started to talk about the AI job board, because we're looking at a lot of. So we started using AI in 2017. So we started with machine learning algorithms that we used
Right.
for automatic classification of jobs to create a better search experience. So we're not new to the game, but with Gen AI, like generative AI and large language models, the game completely changed. So I like to compare it with the safety car in the Formula One. So this is kind of, Europeans love the Formula One. So it's like everybody lines up again, because suddenly everybody has the best tools at hand that nobody could think of in years. And no matter what you invested, if I have ChatGPT, I have something better than you had 3 years ago, right? So this changes the game. And then the question is, how can you take advantage of it? Because literally anyone could start like something and say, hey, I have the AI here, and I just send a prompt to ChatGPT and get a result out there. And I would usually say, like, it's very important to look at all the use cases that you could create, like from job description generation to create your screening questions for the application process, create your blog content, anything. Your recruitment is all about text, right? And generative AI and large language models are especially good at text. So it's actually one of the best use cases is a job board. But how can you benefit from it? How can you differentiate? And this is where we say you need to have brand, you need to have network, and you need to have data. Because if you have one or all of those ingredients, what you can add to your prompt is different and unique to anyone else. So this is where you can multiply the power of the large language model with your site. And do we have a 5-year roadmap of what we build? Not yet, but there is a lot. We have a lot of conversations starting with our customers. And the way we change product development at the moment is that we open up more for interested customers to experiment. We would say, hey, we're gonna run an experiment, and we want you to participate in this experiment, and maybe we can come up with a new AI solution, because it's so easy to integrate. And we look at your site, and you have so much data, nobody else has that, right? So take advantage of that. You can provide a service in combination with Gen AI that nobody else can.
Martin, where are most customers? So, and I'm thinking smaller companies that have a community that want job boards. I'm thinking smaller publications, so
Right.
local or even a small regional newspaper or online magazine. These types. I think historically we have seen a lot of these people publish job boards, right? So
Yeah,
Indeed and the old Simply Hired and all of these
correct.
other things that were out there, right? A lot of them were just stagnant. They put them up. They said, well, I've got 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 readers a month. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to aggregate the jobs. I'm going to earn revenue on clicks and things like that.
Yeah,
Where do you differ from this, right? How are you vetting your customers to ensure that
right.
they're actually using your software?
Yeah, very good question. And to start with, the answer is we work like in Germany, we work in a different way than in the US. So in Germany, most of our customers out of the publishing and newspaper space and media space, they want to have the SaaS, the software as a service platform, and they pay us for the license because they still
Right.
have big teams, they have sales teams, they have a big
Hmm.
revenue stream from recruitment advertising, and they need the best tech
Yeah.
to
And they don't want to
continuously.
build it. And they don't want to build it.
They don't want to build
Eh,
it. It's like a make or buy. It's like a make or
That's right.
buy decision. By the way,
Hmm.
you can
Sure.
download on our website how to make the make or buy decision, and it's cheaper for them to go to a white label solution because they can focus on sales and marketing. So why doesn't it work in the US? So the US, the trend, the downwards trend of advertising, going away from the publishers and the newspapers, it was much faster happening than in Europe. Trying to keep some of the old business models a little bit longer, but in a very successful way. They're super profitable at some in some areas. So it's actually not the worst idea. But in the US, we needed to approach it differently. So we had a couple of customers that were really excited about the SaaS platform. Mostly it was very sophisticated job boards like Health Jobs Nationwide or workplacediversity.com. It's like networks. And they really
Right.
could use our tech to power their network in a different way that they could never build before. Again, a benefit, it was cheaper to work with us than building it on their own. And no other competitor was providing what we could provide. So with newspapers, it's different. They are not used to pay for the service, right? So this is why we came up with. So we partnered with Panalogic already for a couple of years to power their sites on the job network, and we said like, hey, this is something that we really see it can work as it works in Europe, but we need to have a different contract model or business model. So we approach it a little bit differently. They can upsell our own products, like they can upsell the job network products. We can actually help our other customers in the Jobiqo network to provide their products like diversity products or like social products, college boosts, etc., etc. So we can combine all that, and we can help you to get the sales and delivery machine, like to get the traffic, get the products right, get the site experience right, make it the brand. We can help you with that. What we yet not what we are not doing yet is like helping you with the sales. We are also planning on providing services with sales agencies that help you with the sales, because this is usually where the biggest problem is happening. They really, you can't make a lot of money just in self-service if you're an unknown brand, and like people just go where they what they know, like they go to Zip, Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, etc., if you're a small and medium-sized business. So you need to help them to communicate to their employer customers, and I think that's the most difficult part that they're facing. How can they grow their customer base? What we can add all the automation to it. We can help you deliver on the performance. We can help you to automate your marketing to your customers, like sending a reminder if they run out of credits or if they should buy another credit on the job site. So these are small things that really help you to like land and expand with your customers and with your employer customers. But it's not yet like a self-driving car, right? So we are not there yet, and you need to work actively with us, then you get the best out of it. We have a couple of partners that are just happy with what they get organically, but you let a lot of money on the table, like literally.
So I want to get your take. I got two questions, but I'll save the second one. First one is get your take on aggregation. So when Indeed first came to market, I believe they were one of the first. I don't know if the first or one of the first, because before that there was a lot of captured databases. So kind
Mm,
of closed off. You couldn't get to them unless you were a member or you signed in or whatever. And then Indeed comes along and it aggregates. And then fast forward, then everyone aggregates. And so it's for when I talk to recruiters about this, or even sourcing folks about this, it's like it's just a lot of noise. It's cool because you're scraping career boards or other job boards, etc. So there's a massive amount of jobs, but there's also a lot of noise. And the question is your take on kind of that old model of a captured database of candidates versus what you see in aggregation today.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think partnerships in that space work well if you're not planning to be the number one or number two player. So you really need to be really big to only work with your captive data. I still think now, because of what I said about the AI, there is, even if it's just a low amount of data that you can generate, there is some local nuances that you can add to that. But I wouldn't necessarily build my business model just on aggregated data, be it just on aggregated jobs or aggregated candidates. I would really try to understand, why is it difficult for my employer customers to get talent? Is it
Right.
maybe a combination of getting the right traffic and being present in the market, and it's like employer branding, things like that. So we come with a employer branding feature that you can work on with your customers. So if you combine it, then they also get better candidates. But in the beginning, it's usually like having a good margin on what you spend for buying the traffic and what you
Right.
really can deliver. And any job board business model in the world so far, like be it the job aggregators or the job boards or whatever you do, you always look at the return on ad spend. So you need to spend more in the beginning to build your audience. So if your business model is to be big in the audience, you need to spend a lot on marketing in the beginning. If you want to stay more on the transactional side, you need to have a good sales team and then take advantage of what I call the information asymmetry. So nobody knows what it's kind of a retail business, right? So you know more about the market to streamline the traffic to your site, so you can make a margin on the single job posting or on the subscription or whatsoever. And this is how it usually works. But because this is different to the traditional media ad sales play, which was basically your job was done when the job was live, because this is like
30
you were
days.
printing it online, yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe
Yeah.
customers ask, what do I pay if I want to have it in color, or what do I pay for more words? And like, this is no joke. Like, we have these
I
conversations in
know.
This is how,
Germany,
yeah,
right? And
that's
and
crazy.
I mean, the worst thing about it is there is employers paying for that, and we got asked to build features. We once got asked to build a feature if we can make the print button chargeable, because they don't have a career website, so they would print it out and put it on the blackboard.
Can we
Right.
make our
I'm
image
not
black
kidding.
and
I'm
white
not kidding.
instead?
Oh no.
This was 2019,
You know,
and
Yeah.
for April Fools, Martin, you guys should put it. Wait, we'll do it for next year. But put a button that says "Upgrade your image to color" on the digital version. And Mark, so as you're going forward with this, I also want to get your thought. William, I know you got a second question to this, but I want to get your thoughts on: does the customer need to have a high volume of traffic to their site, or do you find through your customer base that niche audiences perform better for the postings?
yeah. So if you have no audience at all, it's gonna be difficult, because then you spend a
Right.
lot on buying traffic, and
Yeah,
usually you're at the end of the food chain. If you start working with aggregators, you're the one paying for all that what happens in between.
sure.
So it's usually you need to have like a hybrid strategy on working on your organic traffic and also on your paid ad distribution. That's kind of how this is the secret sauce. We try to take over a lot of the thinking about how you can combine technology wise automate your paid acquisition and your
Mhm.
organic reach automation. This is what we do with our SEO tools and with our analytics, et cetera, et cetera. But if you start from scratch and you really want to make money, you can always have a lucky shot, right? But if you really want to grow like a recurring, sustainable set of income, then you probably need to invest. So usually you already have something that you can build on. That's usually the best, and it's easier for someone who comes out of the media space or digital marketing space than for someone who is just really knowledgeable about the industry, because this is an advertising game. This is an advertising and marketing game. It's not an HR game. And I hate to say that, but just because you know
It's true.
what
It's true.
someone needs in the industry, it will not sell you a simple job to any employer. They the reason why you have, like, if you look at Unleash and all these big conferences, the biggest event floors are branded with the biggest brands, because recruiters buy from something that they know and that they trust. So do you have something that they can trust into? So either you're like an association or like a niche job board that is already known, or you're like a media brand that is already known. This is a good starter, and everything else we can talk about. But if you're completely new to anything and you just go there and say, I know everything about the industry, it's like, you're the fifth guy today telling me that.
This is why we see a lot of digital marketing companies or digital media companies. They own 50 job boards, or not even job boards, just 50 e-commerce sites, because this is a game of marketing and eyeballs, and they understand how to drive that traffic and convert them into a click, a purchase, an application, whatever that is. But you had a second question.
I agree on that.
Last question for me is interesting candidate behaviors that you're seeing now, maybe you've seen in the last year or so, of just things that, you need to change the technology for your customers because of the behaviors of the traffic that's coming through. The candidates' behaviors are changing. So any insight there?
Yeah, so I think this is the part where most of the industry is really bad at, because everything is about selling and advertising and buying traffic, right? And it's kind of okay to be like that, because if you only focus on candidate experience, still nobody would buy a job posting from your site, right? But the big difference is how easy you can convert the user, and this is usually happening with a good candidate experience. So candidate experience should be key on what you do. And we always like to say we are a candidate-centric solution, because everything we do is focused on understanding where we lose the user. And it's usually the user of like the candidate. There's also a B2B part where we have a sales dashboard, and you can see where the employers are churning when buying in your checkout process. But that's just a small part of a job site. A job site is really all about people navigating, finding careers. And if you really believe in like your vision, why you do that, like kind of you help people find jobs, you think about it differently. And I would take a bet that 90% of people that run their job sites like as a side hustle, they never try to search for a job on these sites, because then they would see what breaks the system and what is breaking the process. And it's not easy. So what we do with our matching solution, we also try to incorporate like the behavior. So I really truly believe that if you have the ability to explore and you learn from a user exploring, hey, actually you're not stuck to your keyword. Maybe you didn't even know what you're searching for, but you understand, okay, this path is interesting. You click on that job, and then the recommendations change because of your interest, because this is what you probably mean with behavior. And in the future, maybe also learning on why did you spend more time on this job than on this job? Why did you click on this immediately and on this, like you looked at it 3 times, but then you always stopped at the salary information? Things like that. So it seems easy. It's just that you need to have quite a big of volume to not get misled by data, because there is a lot of like the recruitment is complex. So it's much more complex and nuanced than e-commerce, but the market is much smaller. That's why there is usually not that sophisticated solutions out there. And if you look at marketing technology and marketing automation out there, there is so much more that is always already here, but it's because the market is so much bigger and it's so much easier to make money in that space than in recruitment. It's like you need to explain it to users that are not IT savvy, and then there's not a big market, and then in the end they always buy on the one that they know, even if it provides bad performance. So they don't grow up as recruitment marketeers. And I think the belief 10 years ago when programmatic started was, well, everybody will become a marketeer, like all the recruiters will become marketeers. And I think we're still, some like in big corporates with talent acquisition units, they become like that. But in
Yes.
most of the companies out there,
They are
you're
not like
focusing on the HR part and the people, and your the IT and especially the programmatic, it just scares you out. Like, you need to observe budgets, and like if you push the stop button too late, you get charged a lot by Indeed or things like that. So it freaks people out, right? And we see it more in Europe, that recruiters are not that savvy towards marketing tools than in the US. I think there's like a cultural difference. Like, US is obsessed by baseball cards and statistics. We are not in Europe.
very true.
We are more interested in arts and things like that. But that kind of changes how you think. Do you
Right.
think in terms of data that you can explore and look at, or are you more focused on the
Yeah.
process or like the people itself? And
But in the end, the recruiters are very rarely, if at all, successful at anything digital marketing in this
yeah,
space, which is why digital marketers get paid a crap ton of money to do
absolutely,
what they got to do. But
absolutely.
Martin, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. We really enjoy learning about what you guys are doing, and excited to see where this journey takes you guys and moving forward. Maybe we'll get to look at it one day. That'd be awesome.
Thanks, Martin.
Ryan, Will, thanks for having me. Ciao.